What, you never seen Mist before?
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 animated movie ripoffs.
Allow me to express my sorrow for all of this.
Just sit,
Stay
and watch.
Orcs will rule the world!
For this list, we're looking at movies that are considered obviously pale imitations of classic animated features made just to cash in on their popularity. Be sure to list your favorite Mockbuster below. Number 20, Bug Bites, An Ant's Life.
You guys know everything. All clear.
Remember when people called Ants a ripoff of Pixar's A Bug's Life? Well, after seeing this travesty, you'll find a whole new appreciation for the DreamWorks film. With 3D animation that barely looks finished, awful voice acting, and irritating sound quality, this flick goes on for too long and amounts to nothing, at least according to critics and viewers.
Sal, it's pretty dangerous out here. You should wiggle back to the brush.
Can't. Geckos.
Geckos?
We guess it's about a caterpillar and some ants trying to survive a gecko incursion? The plot sorta gets lost in all the chase scenes. Apparently, the creators thought watching insects scuttle back and forth for half an hour counts as entertainment. Number 19, Beauty and the Beast.
I remember she said they were three-eyed trolls and man-eating giants and magical creatures.
Not every studio can be cranking out timeless classics, so if you want to make some money in the movie business, you gotta jump on some trends. Good Times Entertainment was one of those companies known for publishing low-budget films that were a little too similar to larger releases. One of the most egregious examples was Beauty and the Beast.
I don't have any regrets, and I'm not going to scream.
While the voice acting isn't the worst, the visuals at points barely match the emotions heard. Between this film and its Disney counterpart, the animation is barely comparable. While the story is public domain, the company was sued by Disney for its deliberately misleading VHS covers. The company later filed for bankruptcy in 2005.
If you leave me, then I shall die of loneliness.
Number 18, Arisha, the Little Witch. How this film got a DVD release is mind-boggling. It looks like a child drew it, and not in the charming way. The plot borrows elements from Kiki's Delivery Service by Studio Ghibli, but the two are eons apart in quality.
Das will Dinkel Donnerbein. Alles soll wie vorher sein.
The animation is incredibly basic. Some characters are even tracings of Disney designs. You'll find the animals from Bambi pop up throughout the film and help Arisha. The studio, Dingo Pictures, has made other films of similar quality, but this film was their last and remains undubbed from the German version. We'd be surprised if they made a profit at all. Number 17, The Secret of Mulan.
You will be Soldier Hua.
Turns out that the company that made this adaptation has a long history of reworking beloved films into what's become known as the Secret of series. Entries include The Secret of the Hunchback, The Secret of Anastasia, and of course, The Secret of Mulan. So how does it fare? Well, not only has the Mulan entry been called a bastardization of one of animation's greatest female characters, it goes a step further by throwing in elements right out of A Bug's Life. Sorry, Flick, you and your friends have been ripped off twice on this list. Number 16, Homeward. You know you've made a successful movie when the asylum rips it off. Onward is the story of two elf brothers who go on a quest to spend one last day with their late father.
Well, Dad, at least you won't have to meet the new guy.
So you, working hard or hardly working?
But if you look to rent it online, you might come across this derivative piece.
Do you even understand what I have to lose here?
While the promotional material might look similar, the marketing and the magical modern world setting is where the similarities end. Instead, it's a plot about an orc and an elf trying to prevent a group of orcs from taking over the world.
Make the magic bag work double, and you and the gang will be in command of the new orc world.
While it's easy to tell the difference between Homeward and Onward, this will not be the last time the asylum tries to con you out of your money.
What?
Number 15, Leo the Lion, King of the Jungle. Circle of Life? more like an endless circle of copyright infringements. The story follows a selfish king lion who gets lectured by a small cub into caring about his fellow animals.
You're doing a lousy job as king.
I beg your pardon?
A rotten job.
The film was produced by Mark Taylor, whose name you'll find across a lot of low-budget mockbusters from the 90s. Just like other films from his library, Leo the Lion was criticized for its lackluster animation and strange musical numbers.
So just ignore my pointed teeth, 'cause I'm a nice guy underneath.
The real problem is that it's just nothing to write home about. It's not so bad it's good, but it's not the opposite either, leaving it somewhere in that awkward middle.
All right, knock it off!
Number 14, Life's a Jungle, Africa's Most Wanted. Phase 4 Films brings us a film that could easily be mistaken for a student's animation project. A privileged sweater-wearing dog called Pip gets separated from his owners on holiday in Africa.
Oh no, don't leave me out here all alone. We dogs must stick together.
He's then forced to adapt to life in the wild.
Ow!
The title is an obvious play on Madagascar 3, Europe's Most Wanted, which was released around the same time. However, the plot is nothing like it, and plays out more like the earlier entries in the franchise. But once you start watching, you can tell which one had the bigger animation budget.
Here's to Pip, a true friend of ours.
Number 13, Finding Jesus. This film doesn't even do what it says on the tin. Wow Now Entertainment brings this animated travesty to streaming, and it's a mess. The film follows Fish, Muggles, and Joy living at Finding Jesus Bay, where they listen and share stories of their beloved creator.
Well, Mrs. Wadley helped a little, and Jesus helped a lot.
The animation is nothing special. The voice acting is bland, and they don't even find Jesus. Given the title, you would at least expect there to be a fish named Jesus. Even in the religious sense, all the characters are already fully committed to Christianity at the start of the film. As a result, this movie is just one long underwater parable reading.
We definitely learned something, though. It's important to keep the promises we make. Yeah, for ourselves, our friends, and for Jesus, who keeps track of everything we do and every choice we make.
Number 12, The Frog Prince.
Why can't I find my Prince Charming?
Based on the reviews, you can basically summarize this mockbuster in one word: lazy. Lazy because they only use a handful of locations. Lazy because the voice work involves insulting imitations of supposedly black accents. And lazy because we immediately dislike many of the characters.
Well, that's it. There's nothing more I can do.
While Disney's The Princess and the Frog gave us magic, great chemistry between the lead characters, and important life lessons, all we get here is a princess who throws tantrums, a king who resents his daughter's independent attitude, and a frog who'll say practically anything just to score.
I can. Of course I can.
Number 11, Plan B.
Bees have to fly from blossom to blossom spreading pollen, or the flowers will die off.
B-Movie, starring Jerry Seinfeld, was a big-budget Hollywood film, so of course it was gonna get a copy plaguing the bargain bin. Plan B was distributed by Mockbuster veterans Sparkplug Entertainment, and has about the same production value as their other titles, meaning there isn't a lot.
Double the size of this hive. I don't care what it takes. Just do it!
You won't be getting any smooth jazz during this beautiful adventure either. This cheap imitation is about a soldier bee working to topple an evil usurper of the hive's queen. Even if that plot sounds a little interesting, the actual product does not deliver, as it features poor voice work, bad animation, and lackluster sound design. You will be cringing the entire way through.
I agree.
I do too. Indeed.
Number 10, Titanic, The Legend Goes On. Do you remember Titanic? The emotion, the tragedy, the rapping dog. Wait, the rapping dog?
Party time, party time. Everybody's feeling fine 'cause it's party time.
Most of the films on this list are rip-offs of other animated features, but this one was riding the hype of the James Cameron classic. While we do get the romance and ship sinking, we also have front row seats to more character rip-offs than you can believe, with some confusing stereotypes thrown in there for good measure. The film is also overflowing with subplots. You'd be forgiven for getting confused along the way. And the worst part is they seem to put most of the budget into the out-of-place musical number. our heart does not go on for this.
Well, just leave your troubles at the door, leave your worries behind, leave the rest up to me, you're gonna like what you find. I'll be busting the moves and I'll be busting the rhymes. We'll be busting up laughing cause it's party time.
Number 9. What's Up? Balloon to the rescue.
I'm a genius.
This Mockbuster not only dumps on the original Pixar epic, it's also a confusing schlockfest. For some reason, the filmmakers behind What's Up didn't think a flying house was thrilling enough, so they tossed in some magic. If you stick around long enough, you might find yourself asking why a magical stone's sole function is to turn a house into part hot air balloon, or why they go out of their way to be racist towards a supporting character that happens to be Chinese.
Arigato.
No problem, but arigato is Japanese. I'm Chinese. My name is Ching Ling.
However, we'll forgive you if you don't even make it that far after seeing the questionable 3D animation.
We'll be heroes only after we send those monsters back to another dimension, okay?
Number 8. Kiara the Brave, also known as Super K.
You've given me everything, but I'm still missing excitement.
Many consider this a terrible film that should have never been forced onto the viewing public. But it's also called a travesty because, when it was shipped to the United States, the distributors rebranded it to cash in on the latest Pixar release, Brave.
Where did they take the king?
I heard them say the Netherworld.
Funnily enough, Kiara the Brave involves neither medieval Scotland nor a coming-of-age story where a strong female protagonist tries to forge her own path. What do we get instead? A superhero called Super K trying to defend the world of Dream Zone from the evil Badness, while Kiara stands in the background doing pretty much nothing.
As kids, we don't have the power to call on destiny, do we?
Number 7. Tappy Toes.
Just follow my lead.
Here we get a much-needed break from horrendous 3D animation, and are even treated to a higher standard of voice work. But for most people, that doesn't save Tappy Toes from being another train wreck. The limits of flash animation become clear early on, as this short happily rips off the plot of Happy Feet, minus the stellar dance sequences and the Robin Williams.
That's the way, you like it, you want it, I got it.
Sure, it tries to throw in some self-referential humor, but considering there's an uncomfortable scene where a hermit crab threatens to pinch a sea lion in not-so-child-friendly places, Tappy Toes manages to tap itself out.
Epic fail.
Number 6. Chop Kick Panda.
Much better.
It may only be 40-something minutes long, but out of the many Kung Fu Panda ripoffs, this is the one that made people feel like they'd gone several rounds with the Furious 5. Brought to us by the folks who created Tappy Toes, Chop Kick Panda is another entry where the animation is the high point. Everything else is a panda-sized mesh of stupidity. Once again, it pretty much follows the original beat for beat, but the ridiculousness of its rushed plot and attempts to focus on humor over action leave Chop Kick Panda feeling disjointed and utterly pointless.
Precisely, Einstein.
Number 5. The Legend of Cirilla.
Stop! He'll freeze to death!
This Canadian animation incurred the wrath of Disney. And that's not shocking considering its title was changed to Frozen Land for the US market. Subtle.
The shaman says the spirits are angry with the clan.
Again, this is a pretty big blunder by the distributors because while the story focuses on the tale of an Inuit shaman and his animal friends, the name and even the signature logo were designed to match Disney's Frozen. The company behind Legend of Cirilla might have thought their film was just a blip on the radar, but in the end, the Mouse House sees all. The creators should have done themselves a favor and just
let it go, let it go.
Number 4. Don Quixote. From the producers who saw Shrek. We're not kidding, that's on the poster. Don Quixote is a comic retelling of Cervantes' classic novel Don Quixote. Traveling across Spain, a knight, his squire, and his squire's steed, who looks a little too much like Donkey from Shrek, look to woo a beautiful woman.
I cannot in truth forget about Barcelona. If that is where I shall find the beautiful Dulcinea, queen of my days and princess of my nights.
And if you're searching for an imitation of Eddie Murphy, you're out of luck.
Shrek, we can do better than that.
The only similarities between the donkey characters is in their look.
Can't you hear me? Hey, hello?
Maybe.
Forget it. The animation is decent, and unfortunately, that is where the positives end. Still, it is a lot more competent than a lot of the other entries on this list.
The only talking donkey I know is a friend of mine who hangs out with some green ogre. I'm a horse.
Number 3, A Car's Life, Sparky's Big Adventure.
I'll take a car wash tomorrow.
That's what you said yesterday.
Cars wasn't exactly the pinnacle of Pixar's creativity, but it's still a decent and entertaining film, especially in comparison to this. Throughout this chopped-together mess, we're subjected to protagonist/motorized douchebag Sparky, who only exists to cause chaos wherever he goes. Along the way, we're treated to what could only be described as an onslaught of terrible animation, awful voice acting, and a collection of some truly detestable automobiles.
Stop playing around.
It's about as cheap a mockbuster as you can get, so we'll never understand how it managed to spawn multiple sequels.
I feel like an idiot.
Number 2, The Funny Life of Pets. This is one of the most frustrating ripoffs you'll ever find. Illumination's The Secret Life of Pets is about adorable talking animals interacting with the real world. Production house Ruthless Studios took that concept and boiled it down to the most low-effort version they could think of. A dog and a cat reacting to stock footage of cute animals doing cute things.
I'm Ryan Fleecrest, and this here is Catnip Everdeen.
Stock footage must be all they budgeted for because shots are repeated endlessly to stretch out the runtime. Perhaps the worst part is that there are other films with this exact same concept. So, if you're in the mood to watch more, you're in luck.
Well, folks, that was a howl of a good time we had, and I look forward to seeing you all again next time. Bye now!
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, Ratatouille.
Chef Marcel Toing prepares the most delicious and exotic dishes, always using special secret ingredients.
They may trade Paris for Rio de Janeiro, but this ripoff remains just as blatant no matter where you set it. Obviously taking liberties from the 5-star meal that is Pixar's Ratatouille. The plot follows a rodent head chef who tries to keep his restaurant open and defeat his competitors. How does he do that? By stealing fresh ingredients from human kitchens in sequences that try to imitate spy capers of old, and which, at least according to most people who've watched it, fail miserably on every conceivable level. Do yourself a favor and skip this meal.
I'm afraid I don't find that to be particularly funny, Greg.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.